לו הייתה לי קרן סה שלי, לו הייתה לי קרן סה שלי, אז הייתי בטח קולע לך כתר פס למחול, לא 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 לא, אז הייתי בטח קולע לך כתר פס למחולות. לו הייתה לי קרן יא שלי, לו הייתה לי קרן יא שלי, אז הייתי בטח מריע לך שיר יפה בליל, לא 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 לא, אז הייתי בטח מריע לך שיר יפה בלילות. הייתה לי קרן שפע שלי, לו הייתה לי קרן שפע שלי, אז הייתי בטח מציע לך כס מלכות ויתור, לא 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 לא, אז הייתי בטח מציע לך כס מלכות ויתור, לא. אבל אין לי קרן שפע, קרן אין לי, ורק את לי קרן סה שלי, בידיים אלו אגישה לך את ליבי הלא את כולו לא לא, בחיי הארי פנייך אל תגידי לי לא.
Shabbat Shalom. Wonderful to be with you on this Shabbat Shuvah. That is the name. This is one of those Shabbats that has a name. That's the name of this Shabbat between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It is the Shabbat of return, and it's actually named, as most of our special Shabbatot are, after the Haftarah that is read, a special Haftarah portion which is read on Shabbat, that begins with the words Shuva Yisrael, return, O Israel, obviously picked for the time and the season of return of Shuvah. It's also the Shabbat that we see our diehards come to TBI. So thank you for being here. You know, the people who are like, I've already been here once, I'm going to be here again in a few days, I don't need to be here.
Yom Kippur is a rehearsal for one's death in a deeper way. So the diehards, I think, are appropriately named.
You never know what he's going to say. It's just one of those things. But we're going to start on the theme of the holiday with a song that we've been singing for many years during our High Holy Days. It's on your song sheet as well, your Shabbat Together song sheet, Return Again.
Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to where you are, return to what you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to where you are, return to what you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.
We're going to turn in our books to page 2, and I'm going to invite Laura Zuckerman up to share a reading and to light our Shabbat candles.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
The door of the Sabbath. The Sabbath is the door to the tent of meeting. With whom is this meeting? With the Holy One. But there are doors within doors and corridors of perception through which one must pass in order to come into God's presence. The Sabbath is the entrance door. Those who enter through this door will be able to see all the other doors, for they are all set inside of it. As one passes through them, one will gain wisdom and understanding, maturity and might, an increase of knowledge and a sense of reverence. All depends on entering the first door, the door of the Sabbath.
If you can comfortably do so, please rise.
Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
You may be seated. Turn to pages 20 and 21. Take a moment to reflect on the week that has just passed, or that we are in the end of with our Shabbat, and take a moment on each day for its challenges and its blessings, and then we'll come back together and sing Lecha Dodi. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. When we get to verse 9, we'll rise and face the doors from which we entered to welcome the Shabbat presence and the Neshama Yetera, the extra soulfulness that travels with us during Shabbat, into the congregation and into our hearts. For those of you at home, you can turn and face the doors to your home to welcome Shabbat.
So there's a melody for Lecha Dodi for Shabbat Shuvah. It's a very old melody found it in a collection that was published about 150 years ago, and we've done it every year for the last number of years at TBI. Randy and I are going to just go through it once so that make you familiar with it, and we hope you will join in. It's, I think you could easily transport yourself back to the synagogue of the 1850s when you hear this particular melody. Let's try. Lie, 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 ya la 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 lie, 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 la 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 lie, la lie, 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 ya la 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 lie, 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 la lie, la 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 lie. So we'll try with Lecha Dodi. Here we go. Oh, bum, little intro there. Bum, bum, bum. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat dekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat dekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishme'anu el hamyuchan Adonai echad Ushmo echad L'shem u'tiferet V'l'tchila Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat dekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat dekabela Likrat Shabbat lechuven elcha Ki mekor ha-beracha Nerosh mikadem nesucha So ma'aseh b'maksheva techila Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat dekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat dekabela Hitoreri, hitoreri Ki va'orech umiori Uri, uri שיר דברי כבוד אדוני, עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת קבלה.
Rise if you can comfortably do so and face the doors.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
You can be seated. Alex, you want to come up and share a reading with us? We are on the bottom of page 9.
We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat which unites us in faith and hope. For Shabbat holiness was inspired, living for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness. For Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God.
Now, I'd like to invite Matan and Eliana to come up and help us lead Chatzi Kaddish, which you'll find on page 26.
Yikadav, Yikadash, Shemei Rabbah, Bama Devrahute, Vemli Mahute, Behayehon, Ubyomehon, Upayedeko Israel, Bagala, Bagala, Ubizman Kariv, Vimeru, Amen. Yehi Shemen Rabba Mevorah, Ve'alam Uome Amaya, Yitpara, Vishtaba, Vipar Viramam Vinase, Vitada, Vitale, Vitalam. Shemei Dekurisha Barihu La'ela Miko Birhata Veshivata Tush Behata Venehemata Da'ami Rambe'alma Vimeru Amen.
We continue with Baruchu, our call to prayer. On page 28, I ask everybody who can comfortably do so to please rise.
Oh, am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening, God, to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Do you understand? Oh, am I awake? Am I aware? Yada die die die, 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 yada die die die. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Yada dai dai dai, 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 yada dai dai dai.
I invite Dan and Gabe, and we'll continue while they're coming up with the last three lines in the Hebrew on page 30. El Chai.
El Chai v'kayam, tamidim l'chaleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamarim Aravim. Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, Bechol levavecha v'chol nafshecha, uvechol meodecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi metzavecha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, B'shiftecha b'betecha, u'lechtecha v'derech, u'shobecha u'vkumecha, u'shartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha. Leman tizkeru, v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'etem kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Amen.
As we cross through the sea of a new year, the other side, we're grateful for all the miracles in our lives, small and big, that allow us to stand here, will allow us to be together again on Yom Kippur. Mi Chamocha, our song of miracles and freedom, page 40.
Die 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 die. Die 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 die. Die 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 die. Die 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 die. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. no ratehilot, no seifele, no ratehilot, o seifele, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. Yadadai, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokei hayam livnei Moshe uMiriam. Ze'elianu ve'ameru Ze'elianu ve'ameru Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. Dai 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 dai. Dai 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 dai. Dai 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 dai. Dai 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 dai. V'ne'emar ki v'Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu baruch atah Adonai gal Yisrael.
As we turn to Hashkivenu, which you'll find both in your book in the Hebrew text, but the English version that we're also going to sing today is on your song sheet on the bottom of the first page. And it's our custom, at least for the kids that are here, to shelter them, to be our Sukkot Shalom with the talitot that are at the end of your rows. If you're not a kid, you're still welcome to be sheltered. We could all use a Sukkot Shalom in our life, a Sukkah of peace. And we join in singing.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukkot shalomecha, ufros aleinu sukkot shalomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right, O Adonai. Amen. 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 Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom. L'shalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukkot shalomecha, ufros aleinu sukkot shalomecha. Amen. Baruch atah Ata Adonai Aporei Sukkah Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai Haporei Sukkah Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
We can put our talitot away. We give thanks for Shabbat. Join in Vishamru.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam brit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam brit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai. Et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafas. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam brit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat.
We turn to page 46 for the beginning of our Amidah. I ask everybody who's comfortably able to do so to please rise. Sing together, Adonai Tzvatai Tiftach. And then as we go through, I want to make a note that in both our Avot and Givurot prayers, there are special parts to those prayers only for this Shabbat, meaning they're in this prayer book only for this Shabbat. We also sing them on the high holy days, but they're in here. But they're in here for this Shabbat Shuvah. It says right in the book, Shabbat Shuvah. So here we go, beginning on page 46.
Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Agite Hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava. Zochreinu lechaim, Melech, Melech, Hafetz v'chaim, Zochreinu lechaim, Melech, Melech, Hafetz v'chaim, Kodveinu b'sefer ha'chaim, L'mancha Elohim, Chaim, Zochreinu lechaim, Melech, Melech, Hafetz v'chaim, Zochreinu lechaim, Melech, Melech, Hafetz v'chaim. Melech Hozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch Ata Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah.
Amen. Page 50.
Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei kol ata, Rav leHoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofech cholim, Umatir asurim, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ויהי כמוך אב הרחמים, זוכר, זוכר יצורם לחיים ברחמים. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hakol.
Page 52, and you'll note that the last line that we do in Hebrew is a little different this week as well. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch Baruch Shemo.
HaMelech HaKadosh. Please take a few moments for silent prayer for the text of your own heart or the words of the Siddur through page 62, 63. When you're through, you can be seated.
bottom of page 62. Ose shalom bimroma, Yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ose shalom bimroma, Yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Ose shalom bimroma, Yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ose shalom bimromav, ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru.
On Saturday afternoon, some of us went to Red Hill Park and participated in the ritual, the folk ritual of Tashlich. And I call it a folk ritual because, like many powerful customs within Jewish life, the rabbis sometimes weren't so fond of them, right? Because they were sort of superstitious in their own way, but the people liked them. And so they did them. And so eventually the rabbi said, okay, go ahead, you can do that. So Tashlich was one of those rituals, right? That people went to the side of a body of water and traditionally they threw breadcrumbs. We don't try to do that anymore because it's not good for the ducks or the lake, but we throw some blades of grass or some sand or a little lint from our pocket or whatever it might be to symbolize those things that we are casting off, right, in the year that has passed. And there's something about us that likes these physical acts, right, that we can do. And, you know, in the synagogue all day, I don't need it right now. I'm not using it, so it's okay. We are saying words and, pouring out statements from our mouths, but we don't have a lot that we're doing except maybe on Yom Kippur, a little of beating on our chest. I'll talk about that on Yom Kippur. So we have this thing, and what's that about? Right? At some level, it's about us wanting to feel, not only in our minds, but in our bodies, right, that we are making a new start, that we're beginning again, that we want a sense of closure. And we want a sense of moving forward. Nobel Prize-winning poet Wisława Szymborska writes in her poem, in praise of feeling bad about yourself, "The buzzard never says it is to blame. The panther wouldn't know what scruples mean. When the piranha strikes, it feels no shame. If snakes had hands, they'd claim their hands were clean. A jackal doesn't understand remorse. Lions and lice don't waver in their course. Why should they when they know they're right? Though hearts of killer whales may weigh a ton, in every other way, they're light. On this third planet of the sun, among signs of bestiality, a clear conscience is number one." So it's really a unique thing for us as human beings, right, that we carry with us a sense of guilt. And much of the time, we carry around a guilty conscience, that nagging voice that keeps score and reminds us of our latest sins of omission and commission. The voice that says, you haven't called your mother in 3 days. What you said to Shirley wasn't very nice. Why didn't you tell him how much you appreciate what he did? What kind of way to drive is that? Are you crazy? They remember these voices, right? The voices inside of us. We keep them. These voices remember all the things that we've done yesterday and all the yesterdays before. But what are these voices for? Right? If they're healthy, because sometimes they can be unhealthy, right? We feel guilt for things we shouldn't feel guilt for. But if they're healthy, guilt is an urge for us to work for healing, for repair, for reconciliation. But often we just kind of push it away. And why do we do that? I think sometimes we think to ourselves, it's not worth it. The return is too small. It's hard work, or it won't work. These are the excuses we make to ourselves, to excuse ourselves from reaching out to those we've hurt, from doing the work that we need to do. To allow us not to do what we know we should, what we know needs to be done. Excuses exist for one reason: to maintain the status quo, to keep us from having to change. Because change is hard, and sometimes even a little scary. And for most of us, most of the time, we would rather take the easy way out, even at the cost of not being truly whole, of feeling like we have loose ends in our lives. So let's work on that a bit. After all, that's the time of year. This is it. We need forgiveness. We crave forgiveness. Again and again during these Yamim Noraim, these high holy days, these 10 days of repentance, we seek forgiveness from God, saying, Salachti, Salachti kidvarecha. Forgive me according to your word as you have promised. And of course, surely if God can forgive, then we can forgive as well. Are we so stiff-necked, so unbending that we're unable to forgive? Rabbi Harold Schulweis teaches the purpose of prayer is not the adulation of God, but the imitation of God. Not the admiration of God, but the emulation of God's ways. The rabbis spelled out the moral correlation. As God is merciful, you shall be merciful. As God is compassionate, you should be compassionate. As God forgives, you shall forgive. For us, for Jews, confessing our sins does not make them vanish. We read in our Machzor, it says, for transgressions between a human being and God, Yom Kippur atones. But for transgressions between one human being and another, Yom Kippur does not atone until they have made peace with one another. So our tradition is clear that it's not enough to just say to God, what I did to Shirley was really mean, please forgive me. Just like I can't forgive you for something that you did to Cantor Paul, I would say, why don't you go talk to Cantor Paul? God can't forgive you for something that you did to somebody else. We need to go to those people and do our best to reconcile. I know it's very complicated. Okay? What happens if they don't accept? What happens if they don't? We could talk about all of these things. It's too much for the short sermon tonight, though. But that's okay. Our tradition wants us to grow and to change, to do what we know in our heart of hearts is the right thing to do. We have to learn to ask for forgiveness and to forgive others. It's no accident that we speak of these things on this Sabbath, known as Shabbat Shuvah, the Shabbat of return. To learn to forgive is an act of return, an act to return to being whole. Will it be hard? You bet. Won't it hurt? It might. Returning to wholeness, becoming ourselves is hard. And sometimes it even hurts a little, but it can be a good hurt, the pain of worthy work. As we are taught, there is both toxic suffering and sacred suffering. Toxic suffering is when we are unhappy because life is not fair, and then we get stuck there. Sacred suffering is when we recognize our pain and troubles as challenges to be met and opportunities for spiritual growth. Sacred suffering gives us the chance for renewal. It's not that we seek out loss and disappointment. It's just when they're part of our lives, as they always are, we know what to do with them and how to move forward and create meaning in our lives. On this Sabbath of return, this Shabbat Shuvah, let us return to each other and to ourselves and to greater wholeness. We can let go of our hurt and commit ourselves to opportunities for renewal. Gamar Chatima Tova, may we all be sealed for goodness and wholeness and healing and forgiveness this year in our book of life. We're going to turn to page 253 as our thoughts turn to all of those in our lives and in our congregation in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. We hold them in our hearts. For those of you at home, if you want to mention to others online, you can put names in the chat. For those in the congregation, you'll have a chance to share the names of those who you're thinking of.
Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel veLeah Hu Yevarech et HaKolim
For healing upon Rebecca Gilman, Hannah Fields Austin, Sue Tobak, Rosalind Lefkowitz, Helen Weinfeld, Pam Poliakoff, Kathy Blumenfeld, Caitlin Antrim, Jennifer Rudin, Brad Holland, Serena Postal, Robert Strober, Marilyn Lubarsky, Joan Morris, Nomi Kravitz, Lori Snyder, Charity Razadeh, Mike Klein, Barbara Fass, Joel Beasy, Gloria Foster, Rita Warshaw, Robert Gerard, Adele Harris, Brenda Found Gerard, Jan Marcus, Marla Fragosa, Al Shapiro, Jeff Nelson, Robert Waldman, Barry Gustafero, Yudik Gratz-Delang, Eva Laxon, Alda Mendoza, Audrey Kubel, Deborah DeLang, James Stead, Rita Elias, Benjamin Jones, Stephen Gilbert, Sharon Zaki, Nell Barron, Oliver Holland, Rabbi Malcolm Middleman, Bill Hughes, Ed Means, Simon Saul, Sue Lundstrom, Stephanie Holland, and
Howard Bush, Linda Bush Smith, and Vince Smith. El Narifana, El Narifana, El Narifana, El Narifana.
invite Candy Fisher back up to the bima just to share a few announcements.
On behalf of your Board of Trustees, thank you, Rabbi. Thank you for being in the sanctuary and online this Shabbat. Todah Rabbah to Rabbi Kupitz and Cantor Bush for leading us in worship this evening. Thank you to Randy Polivoy for your always beautiful music, and to Claudia Gonzalez for bringing our Shabbat service to everyone online. Thank you so much to those who participated in tonight's service, to Laura Zuckerman for her reading, and Gabe and Dan Stobel, Eliana and Natan Tabak, and I'm sorry, who is it? Alex. Thank you. Appreciation to this evening's greeters, Vicki Hollander, Judy Rose, and Kylie Sykes. After services, we'll gather in the social hall for refreshments and conversation. And thank you to Leela Goldman and Stephanie Kuba for generously sponsoring tonight's Oneg. So a few announcements this evening. Erev Yom Kippur service begins Sunday at 7:30. Yom Kippur services begin on 10 a.m. Monday morning. Please remember to bring your Yom Kippur prayer books. If you do not have them, they can be checked out from the temple office. We celebrate Sukkot and Simchat Torah on Friday evening, September 29th. The evening begins with a pizza picnic dinner in the Sukkah at 6 p.m., followed by Shabbat and Erev Sukkot Tefillah at 7 o'clock. Shabbat and Sukkot Tefillah resume Saturday morning, September 30th at 10 a.m. At TBI with Havdalah at Rabbi Kupitz's home at 7 o'clock. Our annual High Holy Day Foods Drive has begun and runs to Sunday, October 15th. Bags can be dropped off in our lobby during the High Holy Days and on Shabbat, and in Classroom 12, Monday through Friday, from about 7 to 6 p.m., Saturday and Sunday from about 10 to noon. This year's food drive honors Jay Eisenberg for his many years of dedicated service to Temple Beth Israel. Finally, the Project Angel Baby Shower 2023 benefiting mothers and their babies at LA County USC Medical Center is a week from Tuesday, October 3rd at 10 a.m. at Claremont United Church of Christ on Harrison Avenue. So in addition to new baby clothes, they are welcoming blankets, gift cards, cribs, diapers, wipes, and washcloths. They're so appreciated. If you'd like to contribute, please drop off these much-needed items in the collection box in our foyer and also at the Tree of Life Children's Center. For more information on these and many other events at Temple Beth Israel, please look in your September Kehillah and your weekly online Tekiah and on the TBI website. Shabbat Shalom.
I just want to highlight a couple of things about the High Holy Days themselves, and then reiterate just one point of Candy's because I don't want people to miss it. I want to make a note for kids during the High Holy Days. We have our kids program that runs simultaneous to our morning service. We have a family kid service at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and some families also like bringing their kids who aren't coming to the regular service for Nila at the end of the day, which is about the last 45 minutes of the day, 50 minutes of the day, and we end with break fast. So it's also an opportunity to come because we have Havdalah in the sanctuary and stuff like that. So those are all opportunities.
And a break
of
fast
course,
afterwards.
Ends with break fast, I said. And then we also, of course, kids of any age, if they want to be in the sanctuary, are welcome to be with us in the sanctuary. So while we have a kids program, you don't have to send the kids to the kids program. They're also welcome to be with us in the sanctuary. The only thing I wanted to highlight that Candy already said was, I just wanted you to hear as she went through the dates that The next 2 Shabbats, Friday nights, are at 7 p.m. Because they're both special Shabbats. One's the first night of Sukkot, and one is Simchat Torah. So we have, so for all of you who come regularly on Shabbat, either here or online, 7 o'clock the next few weeks. Of course, it will be in your tekiah and in your kehillah as well. So Shabbat Shalom. We're going to move to the end of our service with our Aleinu prayer, which you will find on your song sheet on the back side. I invite you to rise.
It's up to us to call ourselves to task, to sing what's good and true, to bring about redemption. That's what we were freed to do. For what's the point of being here if we're not moved to change our ways? Aleinu l'shabeach, it's time to live our praise. We are carrying the stories of the ones who came before. What stories will be told of us when we are here no more? We commit ourselves to action. It brings meaning to our days. Aleinu l'shabeach, it's time to live our praise. It's up to us to own the vision. We are answered to a call. It's up to us to live the words we speak for the benefit of all. It's up to us to bow down deeply. There's a broken world to raise. Aleinu l'shabeach, it's time to live our praise. Aleinu l'shabeach, it's time to live our praise. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei malach malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. 287. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Page 294. Take a moment to remember those who have been important in our lives and have left this earth, those who have died in recent days or at this time in years past. And again, for those of you online, if you're remembering somebody as we move into Kaddish, feel free to share a name with the online community. We remember the recent death of Elaine Cheney Munt, sister-in-law of Yvonne Cheney. Remember the Yortzites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Minnie Barnett, Morris Greenberg, Dr. Gabriel Smilekstein, Sally Rose Wachtel, Daniel Cusack, Murray Diamond, Henrietta Gildenberg, Fito Goldsman, Diane Polinsky, Ann Aptekar, and Annie Baer, Morris Coulter, Josephine Leach, Martin Booth, Lou Kadish, Ann Krieger, Eleanor Van Grove, David Buffman, Daniel Greenstein, Ruth Cohen, Paul Fairchild, Deanna Goldsman, Rita Cooperberg, Francis Richards, Louis Rosenblum, Samuel Glick, James Gustafaro, Eva Henring, Fred Klein, Phyllis Sylvie, and Beverly Summers. If you're remembering somebody who would like to add their name to those I've listed or restate a name I've listed, please do so as they come by your row. If you're in a time of mourning or observing a yortzeit on the Shabbat, I invite you to please rise. And I invite the rest of the congregation, if it's your custom, to rise and embrace in support of those who mourn. Again, Kaddish is on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, b'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach leolam olamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dukudisha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing.
So we're going to close with the last paragraph of that. Oseh shalom b'imromav, Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, hu yaseh shalom, hu yaseh shalom aleinu.
Chad, Shtaim, Shalosh, Arba.
May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oseh shalom b'imromav, Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, hu yaseh shalom, hu yaseh shalom aleinu.
Please join us in the social hall for Kiddush, Motzi, and refreshments. Shabbat Shalom. For those of you who are online, hope to see you soon. Join us for Yom Kippur. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.